What makes this concept so special to you?
It's all about the family and the home. Growing up in Greece was all about going to a little snack bar, enjoying a quick moment with the family, and this is what very much a part of time out here.
When we opened the market, the day after and the day after, it became, in a positive way, worse and worse.
If we're not engaging with the public to draw them in so that there is an experience that's not an expectation or a demand from the consumer.
Welcome to season 10 of the Chef JKP Podcast. This one is extra special. For the first time ever, we're coming to you live in front of an incredible audience at Time Out Market Dubai, the heart of the city's food scene. To kick things off, we have a clash of culinary titans as BB Social meets À La Grecque. I'm joined by the dynamic team of Spero and Alex, plus the iconic Chef Tommy. We're diving deep into food philosophies, Dubai's dining evolution, and what happens when chefs push boundaries and bring cultures together on a plate. You're going to laugh, learn, and maybe get a little bit hungry. Time to rock and roll. Welcome to the Chef JKP Podcast with me, James Knight-Pacheco. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, we have got some incredible guests with you. Incredible guests. So what we're going to do, first of all, a massive thank you to Time Out Market for partnering with us. It's the first time ever that the Chef JKP Podcast has gone live, and we're extremely proud to be here and showcase the most incredible and phenomenal talents in the region. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you three powerhouses, ladies and gentlemen, powerhouses within the hospitality industry. They also have their incredible outlets right here. So, first of all, we're going to give it up to two incredible legends, Alex and Spero. Please come up from BB's, and Chef Tommy from À La Grecque. Welcome, guys, welcome. Rock stars, look at them.
Hello.
All right, gents, so get strapped in. Here we go.
Hello, James.
Hi. So, guys, just make sure that your mics are nice and close. You almost want to be kissing the microphone. All right?
No.
You know. All right? So, first of all, gents, thank you very much for taking the time to be here. I really appreciate that. Now, first of all, we're going to kick off with a gentleman. Spero. A lot of ladies would call you a lot of the ladies would call you a gentleman, I'm sure.
Well, that's very kind.
Now, you've had some incredible openings throughout your career, but I want to understand, what was the aha moment when you decided to partner up with Alex and have BB's open?
Thanks, James. Yeah, look, the beauty was that being in a region where you'd think that it's almost impossible to open up a restaurant, being a homegrown restaurant, to have the opportunity to do it with someone like Alex, who's very flexible in his, let's call it his culinary techniques and his skill, and so be it. We just managed to find what's called harmony between an idea that suited the market in an area which is extremely competitive in the DIFC. But the beauty was, it wasn't a case of who's better than who. It's creating a concept, which that's why we love the market here, how adaptive it is to a community, a local community, and that how a product can be very accessible across the board. And that's how we found it between the two of us. It's more of an accessibility and all about an inclusion versus it being exclusive and high end. It has to be, the Dubai 7-star expectation.
So then, Alex, I also want to understand, as you've worked across many countries, you've opened some incredible restaurants. What was the draw to working in a place like DIFC? Was that normal, or were you looking for lots of different locations beforehand to open BBs?
Well, to be honest, we looked at many different locations. DIFC has always been for a long time home, and once we finally found the location BB's in DIFC, it was like, and it was over 3 floors, and it was cute, it was small, actually really perfect on what our idea was to do, and it was over 3 floors. We looked at it and it's like, I think nobody would actually ever take this space to put the restaurant in there. It's just, for us it's kind of natural because we worked in places where you work with young waiters, like we're sending food up, down, stuff running across places. So for us it was kind of natural, and it was a perfect fit.
So then, Tommy, if I go over to you now, you've worked at Baron, in Beirut, to Costa Fria, and now À La Grecque, Time Out Market.
Bravo.
I want to understand what makes this concept so special to you.
It's all about the family and the home.
We'll move the mic up a little bit, buddy.
All about the family and the home. It's all reminiscent of what us growing up in Greece was all about. Going to a little snack bar. Thanks, man. Enjoying a quick moment with the family, and this is what very much a part of Time Out.
Okay, so it's all about enjoying the snacks, all those sorts of things. So for anybody who's not been to the restaurant here, can you tell me the exact meals or the things that they have to have?
Very simple. Gyros.
Okay, gyros, yes.
And anything that comes off the charcoal, which is our chicken souvlaki, also our paidakia, which is lamb chops, that we serve by the kilo.
But for this, when you say it's simple, there is, of course, the delicious flavors that come with all of that. How tricky was it to design the menu for a space like Time Out Market?
It has to be quick and efficient and very, very to the point. And really, seasoning for us in Greece is oregano, lemon, and salt. Other than that, it doesn't get more.
Because I have to understand it. So oregano, lemon, salt, anything else?
Olive oil.
Olive oil? Okay.
Tzatziki.
The garlic.
Tzatziki? Okay, yeah. I'm not going to get into the Tara Masalata, and I'm not going to get into that. But I also want to understand with you guys, how did you then come up with the concept for Time Out Market? Because you obviously had the menu in DIFC. Was it very difficult to then transition from DIFC to somewhere like Time Out Market?
To be honest, we've been here since the beginnings, like this is 4 years ago,
4
just
years,
after
yeah.
COVID. And our menu was already on a social dining principle built up. So we started with bites. Baos were very famous for our homemade baos and in a different style to what everybody knows. And the signature dishes were the barbecue katsu, which, were very stand out. Once we came here, we tried to understand at the time how does a food hall works and what people are actually coming for. For us, very clear that all the bites side and baos will be definitely a hit and winner. So we didn't had touch wood to do too much. Obviously, a little bit of filing it to the right point, but touch wood, it's been an easy transition for us.
And then, Speros, from your point of view, I also want to understand when you first came here to do the incredible food along with that beautiful service. How did you find it?
No, he was cooking. Huh?
He was cooking?
I made him cook.
You made him cook?
Yes, you did. Yes, that's a fact.
And Spero, what's your favorite part of the kitchen when you are cooking?
Look, I think it's a package though, because whilst we say we're a restaurant from inception, when you come to the market, it is a mini restaurant experience, because if people are coming around looking because they all think everything's going to be perfect because we are award-winning homegrown brands, which is great trust to the consumer. And I think that's been a phenomenal exercise here in Dubai without saying, you need to go to this part of town, this part of town. It's all in one room, which is brilliant. But again, it's not a given. We are, if I'm not mistaken, 17 homegrown concepts here, award-winning homegrown concepts. But again, if we're not engaging with the public, and we say, okay, oh great, we have the Wagyu Katsu, we've got the Habibti, it's a guarantee. No, it's not. It's how you engage with your public to draw them in so that there is an experience that's not an expectation or a demand from the consumer. You're actually with the people, and that's what markets are all about. Traditional markets are all about, getting yourself out there, not just the sale, right? But it's that engagement, because people come back to a market every week or every month or every day. So you decide how you want to ensure that experience is there, and it's a tough. I call it. It's very competitive within the market itself, but that's what's the joy about being here. And if your product is not expecting to have a 3-course, 4-course expectation, because you've adapted, let's call it the menu, to support. You come to me for one item, you come to them for another item, you go to Theo for another item. Well, that's what a market's about. Give them a taste of everything. So be proud that you've got these eclectic items that is accessible, it's fast, and it's great flavors and good value for money.
So, Tommy, if I come over to you now, I want to understand another thing from your point of view. Now, as you said, those flavors may be simple, but they're also complex. When you were growing up, what were the types of flavors and food memories that were surrounding the type of cuisine that you had then to have the cuisine that you serve now?
It's literally the same thing. I remember my father always barbecuing, whether we grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, minus 40 degrees Celsius, and he was still barbecuing outside in the backyard with the snow, and it was always the oregano and the lemon and the salt that you would remember. And then the other aspect was my grandmother and my mother cooking inside the house, like chureki, the Easter bread, which is as of now. And we would smother ourselves in the blankets that were, proofing the dough, which smelled of mastic, orange, and the sugar and the butter and everything in that aspect. This is the life I grew up in. And these are the same flavors that we bring here.
But as Spero was saying, how do you feel also? You're coming into a space where it is competitive, but there is also a community here. How did you feel when you first were approached by Time Out Market to be in that community?
One, excited. I also live in Lisbon, so I was thinking the first conversation was that I'm going to do something in Lisbon Time Out Market, but it was to do something here and to do something Greek, which being our first restaurant that we're doing inside Dubai as a Greek restaurant. So for us to come in here, I love the fact that we are actually part of a menu. I don't see it as that we're individuals. Like, we're all part of, there's 17 sections to this menu inside Time Out. So I feel very much that we have to do something that is for what we do for the brand, but also to what is part of Time Out as a business as itself.
And then when it comes to this is a question for all of you. When it comes to seeing how the dining scene in the region has evolved, do you feel it's more leaning towards completely fine dining, or has it completely changed to basically have all sorts of things, whether it's casual, fast casual, fine dining? How do you feel about what's happening within the region and specifically Dubai? Alex, I know you want to take this.
Absolutely. Look, I think Dubai is a special place in the sense of dining. It's always going to be, I've been here for 18 years. Seen it from the very, let's say, call it semi-beginning to where we're today. And because we are, always, Dubai is always striving, UAE is always striving to be on the top, right? And yes, we have incredible cuisines, chefs, restaurants, especially now. I think there's the last 4 years, there's a huge wave coming in again from different countries. The positive on that one is that it's not anymore just a franchise. It's actually brands want to be themselves into the city. Yet it cannot be necessarily always the exact same style of what they're doing in their home countries. So it's always going to be a similar of more of a relaxed social experience versus a fine dining 12-course menu. You have that, but that becomes then a chef experience between 12 people. A whole restaurant in Dubai, I don't believe, or I haven't seen it yet, can operate just on a pure fine dining successfully.
And Baron, how do you think the dining scene has evolved here?
I think for here in Dubai, it's very similar. I grew up in Canada, so it was very multicultural. And there was something about now Dubai, it is multicultural. It's like, it's bringing everyone together. Here, as an F&B, it's just something really special in Dubai right now. I don't see it like fading off. I think it's still going to be leading as it is. Seeing what's happening in Europe or in other countries, this is the multicultural aspect of what's happening here.
Spero, your thoughts, please?
I'll take a stab, and as a personal sort of way we collectively work with Alex too, but what Time-Out Market is here in, let's call it globally, it's actually, I believe it's a learning lesson for many landlords to understand that the mix of your real estate has to be diverse enough to create attraction. It's the great law of attraction. If you created, for argument's sake, À La Grecque times 5 inside the market, and everybody's eating each other up just to get a piece of the pie, it's going to fail. And the consumer's going to feel it from the outset too.
Yeah.
So what's being produced here in Time-Out Market, in the heart of the city, against all the competition outside, has actually made 200% sense as celebrating homegrown brands under one roof against all this competition of individual spaces that are being sort of taken up. And you just look at it. Every day, you're at least 70, 80% occupied by interest versus it being, oh, should we go there? Or who do you know there? Oh, it's not 5-star enough, or it's not this, or X, Y, Z. So the smartest thing that's ever happened, I think, post-COVID, is Time-Out Market. I have to admit.
But also, I think it's incredible how the Time-Out Market has, as you said, it's brought so many different concepts together, so many different concepts to life. They're not anywhere else in the world. They're right here, and there's so many incredible talents. But also what I want to understand, because I've not been involved myself, so Alex, for you, transferring the skills of the chefs in a professional kitchen such as what you have in BB's to then the setup that you have, and everybody, it's an open kitchen, everybody can see what you guys are doing. Transferring those skills, how difficult or easy was it to do in the beginning?
I've been exposed all the time in many kitchens. Like I would, if you ask me that like 15, no, longer than that, maybe 20 years ago, it would be completely shocking. And okay, let's not put it from my side, right? Because I'm exposed for many years on open kitchens and interacting with customers, even though I don't like this, you know.
We understand.
Being so talkful as my partner, yeah? That's why he's in the front of us. However, as long as it's a conversation about food, it's always very easy, call it this. However, I see it on the chefs here, they're interacting with customers and actually be the person to take the orders, you know, produce the orders, and then obviously do the cash up as well. Doing the whole market experience. In the beginning, it's very tough for them to overcome themselves, to be approachable, to engage with the clients, the customers, and then actually be open. It's like sitting now on stage and be exposed to all of you right now, and you have to talk, right? So it takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of, you know what I'm talking about, and just do it. And once you've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 customers, it's just the flow. But definitely, it's not something everybody can do it, and it's not somebody and not especially on chef's side, who can make a sale. The waiters in the restaurant is usually meant to do the sale of the menu, right? And the chef producing it and just solely focusing on that. However, saying that the environment in the market is very joyful, it's fun, it's relaxed, which then makes it a little bit more easier to come out of your shell.
No, I have to agree. I mean, I think there's so many incredible things that we can do here, but also for the chefs to be guest facing is a real big deal. At the same time, what you guys are doing is that you're training the future leaders of tomorrow in whichever cuisine, which I think is really, really important.
Yeah.
You know, so it's incredible that it's almost like a training school in a way, because they're doing so much. And also, I can imagine that during the peak times when you're talking about New Year's Eve and, you know, after Ramadan and things like that, you guys must get super smashed, no? I mean, how is it?
Yes, I remember one particular time when we opened the market.
Oh, yeah.
It was we had one day which was, you know, the induction and, you know, invited customers and whatever. The day after and the day after, it became, in a positive way, worse and worse, because we got so much in this shit, and we had to arrange ourselves on you know, taking the orders, coming in, producing it, giving it out, customers coming, they want to pick up, it's not ready yet. The whole, it was, you know, it has to,
No, but it's
once you push a train and it's running, it's okay. But to get to this point, and we got a little bit overrun because everybody was so excited about Time Out Market being here, and at that time there was nothing else like that, and there is still today. There's other places, but nothing what the market has to offer, not like this. And so yeah, everybody was coming from customers, from your restaurants, from tourists, and anybody else. And suddenly you had to produce, I don't know, 400 dishes in one service. Like, and we were not prepared for that. So we just went down and Spero was like, I made him cook because it's like, you gotta be here. You don't want to be, you want to take the orders. This is the easy part, right? But when you have like a whole tray of like 20, 30 covers, orders in front of you, and you don't know where to start anymore, it's just
tough.
Yeah, in a nice way.
Now, Tommy, I want to understand from your point of view, when yourself and Ruby came up with the concept, can you tell me about the name? Did it come easily, À La Grecque, or were you brainstorming for ages?
We have a list of names for restaurants, potential restaurants, and it was one there. And it's very much, because we're not in Greece, so it's in the Greek way. So it translates into the Greek way, the French, and it totally makes sense for us how it was.
So for you, also, if I was to ask you now, and I'm going to put you on the spot, if you were to design a dish that was not on the menu, what would be the dish?
Not on the menu right
That's
now.
not on the menu right now.
Watermelon and feta salad.
Watermelon, but beautiful and simple, nice and easy. And why is that?
Because it reminds me, sorry, it reminds me of my grandmother. This is what it was every morning when we would wake up in the summer. Day-old bread, watermelon, and feta, and pulling it apart, dipping it in oil.
Love it.
That was my mornings on the terrace.
Love it. So, gents, now this is going to be quick fire questions. So normally on the podcast, we have very quick fire questions. So first thing, for all of you, and Tommy, I'm going to start with you, I'm afraid. Halloumi or hummus?
Halloumi.
Halloumi.
Hummus.
Hummus.
All right. Now, there's no competition for this quick fire round, but I'm going to start with you again. Steaming bao or souvlaki?
Souvlaki.
I'm tired here. I'm tired. My flag is burning in the background.
Yeah, you're already a trader.
I'm already a trader. I know. It has to be a steaming bao.
Bao?
Wow.
All right.
Tilakana.
Innovation or nostalgia?
Nostalgia.
Innovation.
Innovation?
Innovation.
All right. So, the other one, this is a good one for you boys. Midnight kitchen session or early morning produce? Which one do you prefer?
Midnight.
Midnight,
Early morning.
early morning? Alex?
Now, midnight.
And then we've got some incredible books and, chefs behind you. So, Tommy, if there was going to be a Netflix series about your life or a docu-series, which actor should play yourself?
I have no idea. Wow. I've never thought.
De Niro. Okay, very good.
No.
Yeah, Robert.
No,
okay,
no,
very good.
Far
Robert
from
De
it.
Niro. I like it.
No.
Spero?
Joe Pesci, probably.
Joe Pesci. Oh, very nice.
Something like that.
Who would play me? God help him. That's a tough one. Johnny T.
All right.
Johnny Travolta.
Very good. Alex? Who's it going to be?
I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio? Okay, very good. Now, gents, as we wrap up, the other thing I want to sort of ask as well is, what advice, especially that we have a lot of people who are very business-driven, entrepreneurial, restaurateurs, they're future chefs. What advice would you give them if they would like to go down the path of opening a restaurant? Tommy?
Just get your hands dirty. Get involved. It's the only way to do it.
So basically get your hands in the fire. Spero?
Don't let your passion overcome your ability. So in other words, you might know 10 things about either how to cook or how to serve because you've worked in great restaurants. If you don't go down to the understanding of cash flow, you've got no hope. You might, but 9 times out of 10, that understanding of cash flow in a business to get through to the greater sides, living through the darker sides, it's a huge component too, especially in a market like this, which is, I don't say it's volatile, but the ability to be able to open new communities every 3 months, 6 months, constantly. The new best thing is out in the market. You've got to be stern to what you do and not keep changing the world just because someone else opened up something that looks, in your mind, maybe it's better. That means you've set out on the wrong foot.
So, and Alex, I'm going to come back to you. But Spero, in your mind, what do restaurateurs and people who try to get into this business, what is the most common mistake? What do they do wrong?
They don't plan in accordance to what the landlord dictates to them. So you might have a restaurant opening in your mind saying that's going to take, let's call it, from inception they normally take a minimum of a year. But the who's who, I need it now, I need it now, I need it now, there's a big reality that a 3-month rent-free period becomes a very easy 6 to 9 months paid period without opening. So it's the get-go. You can never overplan enough for these restaurant openings. However, this idea of 3 months to open up a restaurant, I'd love to see it happen again, but it ain't going to happen right now. So having enough cash flow or having sort of the allocation of capex to understand that we're not looking at the days of old where a building was semi-decrepit, so you could just jump in and open up a restaurant. Today, that building, whilst being decrepit, has to be brought up to a standard that now we're competing globally in the region against the world. And that means that everything comes at a higher criteria. And if you look at all the expectations that are now on people's heads to open up a restaurant, you've almost got to be quite much of a technician on many fronts to go ahead with it, as opposed to saying, it's okay, I've got money, let's go for it.
Yeah.
No chance.
And Alex, what advice would you give to young chefs who want to go ahead and open a business?
I've seen it and I lived it. I think, first of all, stop overthinking, stop being perfect. You have a dream, just do it and get involved. That is all this what comes into it. It's like, yes, plan, yes, get your hands dirty, be curious, do it yourself, and but just do it. Just start somewhere. Instead of just, I want to be here, and you're not even, have left the home. and you're planning on your laptop and everything else, it's the wrong move. You got to, like in gym or sports, whatever, just start somewhere, and along the way you will discover so many things, and you say, okay, maybe not this way, then this way, and that, or same as with creating a dish. All right, I want to do this. Yes, okay, just start somewhere, and then by the time you finish it, it's completely different.
Well, gents, I have to say, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to be here and to be the very first guests for Time Out Market and for the Chef JKP Podcast Live. I cannot thank you enough for all of your wisdom, and I will put everything in the show notes to make sure that everybody can find all of you.
Amazing.
Ladies and gents, please give a huge round of applause for these incredible gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you so much. What a way to start the season. I loved that conversation. So many unforgettable moments. Now, if you haven't tried BB's Social Dining or À La Grecque, now is the time. And trust me, your taste buds will thank you. As always, all the links will be in the show notes. Don't forget to follow us on all podcast platforms. Share this episode with your foodie friends. And don't forget to drop by Time Out Market Dubai to taste that incredible food for yourself. Until next time, food is memories.